Are you still
My
are you still selling CDs from your email?
I can from my email, yes. I got hacked by some scammers, so my PayPal, which I had as a payment method to order from my website, because my website is joedoylesongs.com.
Right.
I I got hacked, and luckily I didn't lose any money. They tried to take a good chunk of money, um, but my PayPal account got suspended because of it. Um, I've got to look into reactivating. But if somebody would care for a CD, they can always let me know via my email address, and I'd be happy to send them one. I've got two CDs, one Song for
Yeah.
Sammy. And if you go to my website,
I am very interested, by the way. I would like.
yeah, okay. I've got on my website, I've got one of the pages on there has the two albums, and
Right.
it'll tell you which songs are on there. And these are all demos that we produced, and some of them are the ones that were pitched to the artist that they ended up recording. And what I tell people if they're interested, I always found this fascinating as a kid at school. Somehow I came across some demos of hits to listen to the difference between the demo and the record. Sometimes it was a completely different take on it. Sometimes it was almost a mirror image. The Reba album, perfect story about the demo compared to the master. My demo of Buying Her Roses was a ballad, like a power ballad.
Hmm.
Reba was very famous for that at the time. And so we demoed it with a woman named Dana McVicker. And Dana was a fantastic singer. She had a record deal as well. She came in, sang the demo. I'll never forget walking into Studio 19. She was in her car listening to my work tape, learning the song
And you
outside. And I
walked
said,
by
"Hey,
her as she was doing that,
yeah,"
right?
she was in the
Yeah.
car listening. She was nice enough to come into the studio and sing the scratch because
Wow.
this was really important if it was a woman's song, because I'd have to either sing it a fourth above my range or a fifth below.
Hmm.
And that takes the energy out of the track, in
Hmm.
my opinion, because they're listening to me either sing ridiculously high or ridiculously low. But when a woman like, especially a woman like Dana came in, she sang it as we laid the tracks down and just really kind of motivated the players because what they were hearing
Hmm.
in their headphones was inspiring.
I mean,
Right.
essentially,
So
you want the artists that the prospective artists that might choose the song. You want them to be able to seamlessly put themselves in the shoes of the demo singer. Otherwise, I mean, it's not going to work. I would imagine.
yeah, well, I'm talking more about just, you're right about that, but I'm talking more about the inspiration and motivating the players when you're demo
Ah,
when the
I gotcha.
tracking.
Yeah,
If
I
they're
see.
hearing something that's really appealing to them in their ear and their headphones, they're
Yep.
like, they get inspired to play. But what happened was that song. I was in the office when Reba called. I just happened to be hanging out in the lobby with my buddy, song plugger, and the phone rang, and Jerry, she was a sweetheart. She was our secretary out front. She said, "It's Reba McEntire on the phone. She wants to put a song called Buying Her Roses on hold." And my head kind of went, "Wah." I went, "Wait a minute." So my friend Todd picked up the phone. He said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am." Blah, blah. So it was on hold for 9 months.
Hmm.
This was probably, I don't remember what month, but I knew it was like giving birth. It was like 9 months before that
This is
came
the
out.
song that she cut on the last day, right? Like the last minute.
Last day of tracking, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
But what happened was, unfortunately, was her band perished in the crash
yeah.
between when she called to put it on hold and when the album was recorded.
Right.
So, because her mindset and the mood around her whole camp was very somber, she needed pacing for the album. She had picked all these sad, slow songs. So she ended up doing the song of mine as sort of a mid-tempo Latin groove. If you listen to the album, that wasn't what the demo was. They completely changed it. And one night, my buddy Peeps, who I wrote the song with, was happened to be at one of the watering holes, as you're seeing a common trend here. I wasn't there that day, but he went into the restroom and Tony Brown came in. Tony Brown is one of the legendary producers in
Hmm.
Nashville. produced everybody and their cousin, played piano for Elvis when he was a kid. My buddy Pete said, "Hey Tony, thanks for recording our song on the record." He said, "I hope you like what we did with it." Little did my friend Peeps know that what he meant by that was literal, because
Yeah.
normally that's just, I hope you like what we did with it. But he was really, they really morphed it into something different, and I was thrilled that they, instead of pushing it to the side and not recording it, they decided, let's pick the tempo up, let's give it a bit of this feel, so it wouldn't be all ballads on that side of the album. They
So
did
that.
the same thing. I heard they did the same thing with "Is There Life Out There,"
Mhm.
which was one of the big hits from that album. If you heard the demo, it was a lot slower, it was more ballad-esque, and they picked it up and made it into sort of like a anthemic mid-tempo.
Well, I know Vince Gill was kind of infamous for recording both versions of a song, an up tempo
Hmm.
and a ballad. I forget what song it was. It's been many years since I talked with Vince, but there was a certain song that was meant to be up tempo. He turned it into a ballad, and it just he won a Grammy with it. I forget which song it was. The guy's so dang successful. It's hard to
Yeah,
remember which one was which.
hard to keep track. I think there's a legendary story about the Beatles. It was one of their earliest records. I can't remember which one. "Please Please Me" it was. That George Martin decided, hey, this can't be a ballad. This Let's pick it up, and they did, and it became a huge hit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a case of, for me, changing tempo is tricky because so many times in the studio I'd have to go, can we take it back a click? I can't fit all the words in. It's
Mm-hmm.
just at that tempo I can't fit that melody, the meter of that melody in there. So I guess that's a fine line. How you can
So,
do that.
so if the studio or the engineer changes the tempo of a song like that, do they get credit on the songwriting as well?
Oh no, no, no.
I didn't.
That would just be an arrangement
I
technique.
see. I see. Makes sense.